So we should have updated the stream title this time, sent out the tweet, blacked out the arena part so that way you won't be seeing my OBS in the background the entire time, double check the microphone. I was talking to myself while setting this up a lot, so that way I could try and speed up the part where I start coughing and choking because, you know, I just ate lunch and then I'm going to do the stream, because I only have so much time to work with. So I was like, what if I tried talking to myself before the stream? Like, enough that I would start the coughing before then. And while I did clear out a bunch of it, I still got a little bit lingering, but it's noon where I am, so if we don't get started soon, I won't get to do anything. So we're back to building Myrkul. We're on the M set, so we're starting with M10. And there's acidic slime, which is probably going to make this deck. We do need creatures that destroy permanent types, so that way we can recur them as enchantments and whatnot. So acidic slime, very high chance of making it into the deck. Target player loses 1 life, no. Original Johnny, no. No to those. Probably not to Ant Queen. She can make a bunch of tokens with her activated ability. So even if she gets turned into an enchantment, that's perfectly fine, and you can just spit out a whole lot of 1/1s fairly cheaply. Especially with the various token producers. Which will help to not die to non-trampling threats that our opponents are using. And I accidentally clicked out of that on my screen, so we'll bring it back up. There's a little sliver to the left of... There's a little bit to the left of the Gatherer website where I can accidentally click on my OBS. So every once in a while, it just it doesn't go away on the screen because the screen capture is still working, but I suddenly can't see anything. So, makes the land a 4/5. Baneslayer Angel, Birds of Paradise, Ogwraith, Borderland Ranger, Bramble Creeper, Captain. No to Cemetery Reaper, Rawworm, Cudgel Troll, Darksteel Colossus. I don't think so to any of these. Elf, no. Piper, maybe. We'll consider it when we get to Urza's Destiny. Visionary, I believe, was from Alara, so if we didn't take it there. Baloth. Doesn't untap. No. Target creature on top of owner's library. Garrick, no. Flail, Gravedigger. Throw blue and black and can't be countered. Nope. Source an opponent controls would damage you, prevent 1 of that damage. No. Next 2 damage that a source of your choice would deal to you or a permanent you control is dealt to another creature or player instead. Haunting Echoes, Holy Strength, Honor the Pure, Howling Banshee. Each player loses 3 life. No. Howling Mine, Hypnotic Spectre, Indestructibility, 9/9 Shroud, 2/1 Flyer, Lifelink. First Strike deals combat damage to a player. You may exile target black or red permanent that player controls. Nope. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, you may put that card on the bottom of your library. We're certainly going to be running a lot of creature cards. I don't know if a 6 mana enchantment is going to make the deck with what we already have. We're going to need room for lots of other similar things that are working towards what we're trying to accomplish, so we might not have room for this despite it putting a free creature into play. Like, we already didn't do Hunting Grounds. That only works from the hand, but it's a 2-drop. We need to have Threshold, though, which I don't think this deck gets to very quickly, even with the fetch lands and whatnot. Primarily because a lot of our creatures we want to have get exiled so that we keep getting the effects of them when they become enchantments. So, she has also cast an enchantment. There aren't any enchantment come into play, Enchantresses. I could have sworn there were, besides the Eidolon, and I guess the other constellation one that we'll get to. I could have sworn, like, more of them, because there aren't, enchantment tokens, and blinking enchantments doesn't come up as often as creatures. For the most part. Like, yes, there are creature enchantment tokens from, like, Theros and whatnot, but a lot of these cards were made before that, so the fact that they are, although they are cast triggers, so I guess you get to draw the card even if the enchantment gets countered, so that was probably the mindset when they were doing that, as opposed to the comes into play, but the Constellation needs to come into play, so that just allows us to do our shenanigans with the enchantment tokens that we're making. Nature Spiral. Open the vaults, no. Since most of our things aren't enchantments naturally. Block any number of creatures, no. Pithing Needle. Planar Cleansing. Platinum Angel. The downside to Platinum Angel is that if we die while it's a creature, and they kill it, we won't get the artifact, we won't get the enchantment token in time to actually save us if we were already technically dead, and the Platinum Angel's the only thing keeping us alive. So, it's not really a consideration for this deck. It doesn't work the way I would want it to. Which a lot of the creatures, unfortunately, don't quite work the way we want them to when we turn them into enchantments. No to silence. Oh, it's the Wanderlust in black. Soul Warden. Stampeding Rhino, no. Definitely not. Nope. No. Nope. Go to these, I believe. Yeah. None of them are particularly good for us either. Nope. Okay. That was M10. Let's see. Magic 2011. I don't know if we're going to... Well, we can't run Primetime, because last I checked, he is banned in Commander. But, yeah, I don't think we can run... I don't think we want to run the White or Black Titans either. Beginning of your upkeep, you may gain 1 life. No. Pridemate, no. Each opponent who casts a spell this turn can attack with creatures. Each opponent who attacked with a creature this turn can't cast spells. Also a 7-drop, so probably not. Like, yeah, that's obnoxious, and if it got turned into an enchantment, it would keep functioning, and be obnoxious, but I don't think obnoxious is quite good enough at 7 mana. Blue or black spells this turn, and creatures you control can't be the target of blue or black spells this turn. So it's the other Veil that's the more potent one, because it lets you draw a card in addition to saving your thing. There's Awakener Druid again. Back to nature, no thank you. Baneslayer. Bop again. Each opponent loses 3 and you gain life equal to life lost this way. No. Exile target creature. No, we have plenty of stuff for that. Yeah, don't need the Vampire Lord. Flying in First Strike, no. Condemn, no. Crystal Ball, no. Dark Tutelage, that's the Dark Confidant as an enchantment, so no. Demon of Death's Gate. You may pay 6 life and sack 3 black creatures, rather than paying its casting cost, flying and trample. No. There's Forest Walk, Duress. No. Excommunicate. No. It was the same one from before. Fauna Shaman? Probably. Again, this feels like a very combo creature deck, so we're probably going to wind up with the Fauna Shaman and the, what's its name? Survival of the Fittest in this build. Can't be countered. Haste. Can't be the target of non-green spells or abilities from non-green sources. No. No, I don't think so. Definitely not. Grave Titan. No. No to Hornet Sting. To these. That. It's in your opening hand. You can't be the target of spells or abilities opponents control. I mean, we already kind of have that in the creatures that we've selected. Creatures you control get +1 toughness. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may gain 1 life. No. No to all of these. Beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice this creature. When enchanted creature is put into a graveyard's controller chooses target creature, one of their opponent's control, return Necrotic Plague from its owner's graveyard to the battlefield attached to that creature. No. Nope. No. Palace Guard again as the last card. It's kind of weird that it worked out that way despite the cards changing. That Palace Guard is the last card in page 1 of both sets. Put a 1/1 counter on enchanted creature. When enchanted creature attacks or blocks, sacrifice the Cocoon. Primeval Titan. Rhodian Hydra. No. Rotting Legion, no. Assassin. Safe Passage. Sarah Ascendant. Violence. Sorcerer Strongbox, no. Squadron Hawk, no. No. More no's. Search your library for a basic land and put it into your hand. Nope. Temple Bell. Tireless Missionaries. Ultraskillion. X. Then prevent the next X damage that would be dealt to you this turn. If damage is prevented in this way, deals that much damage to target player. I mean, this one would still technically work when turned into an enchantment. It falls into the same problem as the Arbiter before. It's just not doing enough, I feel like, for 7 mana. White Knight, no. Wild Griffin, no. And Yavimaya Worm. Okay. That was M11. Now for M12. We don't have enough creatures for Adaptive Automaton. Myrkul's already indestructible a lot of the time. That specifically has to target a creature, otherwise I might be interested in it. Arachnus Spinner, Arachnus Web, Arbalest Elite, deals 3 damage to target attacking or blocking creature and then doesn't untap. Archon of Justice, Salt Griffin, Auramancer, Autumn's Veil again. Attacks, it gets 1/1 until end of turn. Bloodthirst 3, Bloodthirst 1. Jam Parent becomes tap, destroy it. Fall to the Grave. Carnage Worm. Yeah, pretty much no to all of these. Crumbling Colossus, no. Don't think we need Day of Judgment. Demystify, Devouring Swarm. Favor, Doomblade. No to Doubling Chant because it doesn't work in Commander. Top card of your library. Creature makes a 1/1. Land, put it onto the battlefield. If it's neither, you gain 2 life, and then the card stays where it is. Otherwise, it doesn't tell you to move it. Hexproof, power and toughness equal to number of forests. Bloodthirst. That guy again. This Garrick. Probably not. Like, he's still okay in this deck, but ultimately I don't think we need him. We have better options than the Horde as a 7-drop for that effect. Gideon, we've already gone over why he's not going to work out. Also, as a side note, him being an enchantment and not being a planeswalker means he can't be attacked if he comes back. You know, if he dies while he's in creature mode and we make a token of him, his +2 effectively does nothing other than adding loyalty to him. Although his 0 would still work and we'd be able to turn him into a creature again. Creature opponent controls becomes tapped, put a 1/1 counter on it, tap target creature. During your turn, your opponents can't cast spells or activate abilities of artifacts, creatures, or enchantments. So we already had Dosen on the list, and this is a Dosen that doesn't stop like our opponents from interacting with our other opponents. So I'm kind of okay with this particular not Grand effect. Like, we were already considering Dosen the Falling Leaf to stop our opponents from messing with our turn when we're trying to do our cool combo. So this one stops more of the things that could affect us because they also can't use the activated abilities of their artifacts, creatures, or enchantments. But it doesn't stop them from interacting on our other opponent's turns to mess with each other. So that's probably better, and if I'm only going to run one of them, Grand Abolisher is going to get the nod. So Whereas the other things were like 7 drops that mess with what the opponent is trying to do and aren't really doing enough as far as I'm concerned for their casting cost. This guy's a 2 drop that is actually stopping our opponents from messing with our turn, so probably good enough. No. Discards the rest. No. I don't think so anyway. Yeah, Death Touch isn't going to help much. During your turn, prevent all damage that would be dealt to you. Would be way more interesting if, like, the things that let us draw extra cards dealt us damage instead of causing us to lose life in black. You know, reveal the top card of your library, then have it deal damage to you equal to its casting cost and put it in your hand. That would be a lot better if we were using a bunch of effects like that, but unfortunately black is all life loss. So, we don't get to do anything cool like that. Primordial Hydra, no. Quicksilver Amulet reprint, probably not. Runescar Demon is okay. But I think we have enough tutors. And if we're going to play the really expensive tutor, I think Razaketh works better for this deck than that one does, despite Razaketh being more expensive, since we'll be able to grab each combo piece that we need. No. Only affects one opponent, so no. Sundial of the Infinite. Swiftfoot Boots. Swiftfoot Boots. Taste of Blood. Golem, Throne of Empires, Timely Reinforcements, Empire Outcast, Vengeful Pharaoh, Zombie Infestation. Alright. That was M12, on to M13 then. So 13, 14, 15, and 16. So 4 more to go, counting M13. Then we'll be through all of the core sets, I believe. This one is 1/1 counter target creature, gains flying and double strike, make X 2/2 cats based on your life total. 2/2 lifelink. Exalted. I believe that one was a reprint, but there should be some other unique Exalted cards in this set. There's a battlefield target, no. Creature attacks you or planeswalker you control, that creature's controller loses 1 life. Loses 2 life, gain 2 life. A 1/1 counter on target creature. Search your library for up to X basic land cards, where X is the number of lands you control. Chronomataton, Clock of Omens, Cower in Fear, Crippling Blight, Crusader of Odric, Diabolic Revelation. Enters the battlefield, sacrifice another creature, gain X life, and draw X cards based on its power. Probably not. No to all of these. That. Visionary, Erase, Essence Drain. Return to the battlefield all permanent cards in your graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn. Don't think so. Glorious Charge, Griffin Protector, Ground Seal, Guardian Lions, Arbor Bandit. Another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 2 life. Destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. Knight of Glory, Knight of Infamy, gets a swamp from our deck. Plus or minus based on the number of swamps, and emblem where my swamps add 4 black. Mutilate, Beast Tracker, Nephrox, Oblivion Ring, Odric, Factory Lich, Planar Cleansing, +3/+3, and blocks this turn if able. No. Hexproof, Hydra again. Public Execution, Quirion Dryad reprint, Rain of Blades. Rancor, Ranger's Path, Rock's Faith Mender, probably don't need him. The various rings, Vigilance on the white creature, Trample on the green creature, and the black one lets you regenerate the equipped creature. Yeah. Alright, so no to all of those. No to Roaring Primadox, Sarah Spider, Serpent's Gift, Avatar, Angel, and Avenger, Servant of Nephrox, Spectre, +2/+4 until end of turn, Silklash Spider, no, Baloth, no. Staff of Nin is okay, but I think we'll be fine with like Phyrexian Arena and whatnot. Sublime Archangel, Thried Tusk, Timber Pack Wolf, Touch of the Eternal. Beginning of your upkeep, count the number of permanents you control. Your life total becomes that number. Don't think so. Trading Post. Love it to death, but it's not going in this deck because this is not the deck for it. Field, return it from your graveyard to your hand. Rebirth, Walking Corpse. No, 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 no. Don't think so for Xanthrid Gorgon. Force Mage, Yeva is mildly interesting because it would let us cast Myrkul with Flash. So we could cast him on the end of the previous opponent's turn to make him less vulnerable, but ultimately I don't think that's worth the card slot in our deck. If we could give all of our creatures Flash, that might be more interesting, but the cards that do that I don't think are particularly good in non-blue colors, so like, I don't think we need a Vedalken Orrery or anything. Maybe, but probably not. Border Shield, a Cursed Spirit. Beginning of your upkeep, put a 1/1 counter on target beast you control. Nope. That's the same one as the last set. Enters the battlefield under your control. When an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, put a 2/2 cat creature token onto the battlefield. If that enchantment is an aura, you may attach it to the token. Maybe? Maybe free creatures every time we do something? Again, better for the Aristocrats build, but we do still have, like, some Aristocrats level cards, so that's still a potentially very good card for us to have. Like, we're going to be running Phyrexian Arena, or Phyrexian Altar and Ashnod's Altar as ways to sacrifice our creatures anyway. So if we're getting an extra token every time we make an enchantment with Myrkul, that might actually be a thing. So I'm at least going to consider that card. Don't need the Archangel, Auramancer, Banisher Priest, Blessing, Blightcaster, Bloodbaron, Bogbrew Witch, Bone Scythe Sliver, Bramble Crush, Brave the Elements. Alright, Brave the Elements is a reprint from, I think, one of the Zendikar sets. That might be worth considering, maybe, as one of the one-shot protect our creature at instant speed cards. Since it can also protect our other white creatures. Celestial Flare, no. 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 Dies, you draw a card and lose a life. Nah. For triple black, I think we can do better on our enchantments. Vigilance Lifelink, no. Flying Death Touch. Tap any number of untapped creatures you control and make a 4/4 Angel token. No to all of these so far. No. First Strike, Lifelink can't be the target of black spells or red spells your opponents control. Fire Shrieker, Fog, Fortify. Caller of Beasts. Is okay. Like, all of his modes are okay. Like, if we got the doubling season effect off, getting his emblem is perfectly fine. His minus to put a creature from our hand into play is probably going to be decent. I don't think he's going to make the deck, though. Like, I think he's generically good in what we're trying to do, but we'll have better specific cards. But we'll give him a shot at least. Too much mana to activate that particular ghoul. No. Sliver. Those. These. Creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped is kind of whatever. Primarily only matters with haste on the opponent's side. Look at the top card of your library. If it's a land, you may put it onto the battlefield. Tusker, Lay of the Land. Zombie. Don't think we need that. And a Weft Sliver. Attacks. Tap target creature. No. 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 Go to Nightmare. Where another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, you may put a 1/1 counter on target creature. Don't think that's doing enough. Life total is greater than your starting life total. Creatures you control get +1/+1. One or more creatures you control attack. You gain life equal to the number of attacking creatures. No. Cast a creature spell, 3/3 beast. Cast a non-creature spell, put 3/1/1 counters on a creature. Land enters the battlefield, gain 3 life. Don't think we need those. Can't run Pyromancer's Gauntlet. I mean, we can. There's nothing stopping us other than the fact that we will never cast a red spell. So it won't do anything. But we certainly could. Ratchet Bomb, Ring of 3 Wishes, Rise of the Dark Realms. Good old Rumbly Belly Baloth. Ooze reprint, Savage Summoning. Can't be countered. Next creature you cast this turn can be cast as though it had flash. That spell can't be countered. That creature enters the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter. Is alright. We would still have to watch out for the counter spells that do things like exile the spell off the stack, end the turn, like time stop and whatnot. So it's not foolproof for getting Myrkul into play underneath a counter spell. And it's also a one-shot. All combat damage that would be dealt to Seraph of the Sword. Shadowborn Apostle, Shadowborn Demon, Shrivel, Silence, Construct, Solemn Offering, Soulmender, Spore Mound, the Staffs of the various Magi, Maguses, whatever. Gains Vigilance and Lifelink until end of turn? No. Copy target triggered ability you control? Maybe. Like, you can at least consider that one. So, Strionic, Resonator. I'm very surprised Strionic is a made-up word with how many weird words like that turn out to actually be words. But, right, Strionic, yep. So I spelled it the way they did, and spell checker is like, nah, that's not a real word. Like, Borborygorymos is a real word. The, former, I guess, possibly returned leader of the Gruul. Yeah, it's a word to describe the sound that your stomach makes when you're hungry. You know, that kind of weird rumbly, gurgly noise? That's what... It's apparently called Borborygorymos. I'm mispronouncing it horribly because I mispronounced his name horribly. Borborygmos, something like that. But yeah, that's what that means, and... if you spell it properly, it is a real word. Which genuinely surprised me when I found that out. Like, your spell checker will not reject it. It's just like, what? How is this? What is this even? Yeah, so as it turns out, it's basically the sound that your stomach makes when you're hungry. that weird rumbly, gurgly noise it can make. That's it. Cast a blue or black spell, put a 1/1 counter on it. No to that. Or another human dies, you get a 2/2 black zombie. Nope. That was Core Set 2014. Core Set 2015. Oh, whoops. Magic. Core Set 2015. Did I accidentally put that Garrick in the wrong one? I'm gonna have to double check that. I might have meant to put that Garrick in M14. We'll see, though. Maybe he's in this set and I can double check him real quick without having to go back. Until end of turn, up to one target creature gets 1/1, first strike, vigilance, lifelink. 1/1 counter on each creature you control, and a loyalty counter on each other planeswalker. If a source would deal damage to you or planeswalker you control, prevent all but one of that damage. Silverback. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to another target creature this turn by sources of the color of your choice. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to target player this turn by sources of the color of your choice. and she's a 5 mana 5/4. Probably not. +2/+0 in Vigilance. In the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card. Whenever it dies, target opponent gains control of Avarice Amulet. Nope. Battle Mastery, no. Black Cat, no. Blood Host. Boonweaver Giant. Enters the battlefield, you may search your graveyard, hand, and or library for an aura card. Put it onto the battlefield attached to the giant. Shuffle your library. Brawler's Plate, no. Moss Beast, no. 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 No, no, no. Maybe Chord when we get to it. That. Convoke, deal 4 damage, gain 4 life, no. Pay 1 life, put a counter on it, remove X counters from it, deals X damage to target creature, no. +1/+1 as long as you control an island, so we can't even run this with the blue activated ability. Exile an attacking or blocking creature. Put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Target creature gains indestructible until end of turn. These tokens. Each upkeep, if you lost life last turn, make a 1/1, so probably not. Apex Predator. +1, destroy a Planeswalker. +1, make a 3/3 Death Touch. -3, destroy target creature, gain life equal to its toughness. Target opponent gets an emblem. Whenever a creature attacks you, it gets +5/+5 and trample. Pack Leader, no. Gather Courage, no. Dice to the Moors, no. Also, haha, I thought we would get the other Garruk so I could double check him, and this is the set where Garrick's like super evil. And nothing really ever came of that. Like, Garruk was built up as this unstoppable planeswalker hunting predator monster because of the Chainveil curse. And we see him do that, and then the next time we see him is in Lorwyn, and he's got enough control over himself to actually help the Royal Scions find their dad and cure him of the curse Oko put on him, and then they restore him, and then he's perfectly fine, and that's the end of it. Like, what? Why did we even bother? We did absolutely nothing other than make him the villain of, like, this set specifically. Enters the battlefield, search your library for an aura, no. Hornet's Nest, no. Hornet Queen, no. Ambush, no. Hushwing Griff. Alright, so there's the Hushwing Griff if we want it. Which we might. Yeah, if we can get the enters the battlefield triggers of our creatures when they die still, and our opponents get nothing when their creatures enter the battlefield, that might actually be a thing that I want to do. If's Legacy. No. 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 Nope. Go to that. Go to these. Enters the battlefield. Top 3 cards of your graveyard or of your library. Yeah, top 3 cards of your graveyard into your library. Stockpile. Don't think so for this deck. Red activated ability. No. Target land you control is a 4/4. Untap 4 land. Search your library for any number of basic land cards.
put them onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Lands you control become 4/4 creatures with trample. They're still lands. Obnixilis.
Again, he's obnoxious. Like, opponents search their deck, they lose 10 life. If we can get him back as the enchantment form, still hurts them. But it's, again, more obnoxious than it is actually winning the game. You know, like, if the opponent is going to win the game off of their Demonic Tutor and they're at 11 or more, they're going to cast the Demonic Tutor. Like, Obnixilis is not going to kill them or stop them from going off if they have enough life. So, and players don't have to crack fetch lands or cast, rampant growth effects while he's in play. So again, he's more obnoxious than anything else. Trample, another white creature gains vigilance, another black creature gains death touch. Perilous Vault. Poker, Phytotitan. Captain. I believe it's from Lorwyn. Obviously it's a Kithkin, but I'm pretty sure it's a reprint specifically from the Lorwyn block. Probably from Morningtide, actually. This is the first time we've seen Reclamation Sage. From anything before M15. Doesn't look like it. Okay. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Do we want Reclamation Sage? We already have the Acid Slime, so probably not. But it's worth considering for a moment at least. Enters the battlefield. If your life total is less than your starting life total, it becomes equal to your starting life total. But it's a 7-drop, so probably not. Convoke, return X target creature cards with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. No, not what we're doing here. Not enough of what we're doing here anyway. Sanctified Charge, Wayfinder, good old Scuttling Doom Engine. Convoke, flying, power and toughness equal a number of creatures you control. Pay 2 life, gains flying until end of turn. Battlefield, draw a card. If a source would deal damage to equipped creature, prevent X of that damage, where X is the number of creatures you control. Equip 2. Here are the souls. Soul of Innistrad lets us pay 5 mana to get back up to 3 target creatures from our graveyard. Soul of New Phyrexia lets us pay 5 to have our things gain indestructible. Creatures you control get +2/+2, gain first strike and lifelink. And make a 3/3 beast token. Yeah, I don't know that any of these are particularly impressive in our deck. Like, the black one and the colorless one have the best chance, and even then, I don't think they're particularly good for what we're trying to do. +2/+2 has protection from all colors. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay white. If you do, make a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. Sacrifice a spirit. Target non-spirit creature gains indestructible until end of turn. Stabloons. Staff of the various Magi again. Magi. Maguses. +1/+1, and 5 mana. Creatures you control get +1/+1. 2 flying lifelink. 8/8 can't be countered. Trample. Chain Veil. The missionaries again.
put 3/1/1 white spirit tokens into play. Parent Machine, Ulcerate, Scavenger. Fill a number of creature cards in all graveyards. Nope. Make the Graves. No. Urborg reprint, Venom Sliver, Haven, Mind Weft, Walking Corpse, Wall of Essence, Wall of Limbs, Mulch. Vigilance gets +2/+2 as long as the opponent owns a card in exile. Waste Not, no. Will Forge Golem, no, which is familiar. Slyblade. Sun and Zolfshade. Alright. Oh, that was M15. So, check Origins now. So the two Magic the Gathering things should be Commander, like the first Commander sets that they did, and Conspiracy, I believe. There's Aegis Angel again. Aerial Volley, a Crowan Jailer, no. If you would gain life, gain twice as much. If you would draw a card, draw an additional card most of the time. There's a battlefield. Creatures you control get +1/+1. Reveal the top X cards of your library. Put all land cards from among them onto the battlefield tapped, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Untapped creatures can attack you. As long as Archangel of Ties is untapped, creatures can attack you or a planeswalker you control, unless their controller pays 1 for each of those creatures. As long as Archangel of Ties is attacking, creatures can't block unless their controller pays 1 for each of those creatures. Battle Priest, no. Dead Children, no. Cast an enchantment, so no. As long as you control an enchantment, gets +1/+1 and has lifelink, but a 4/3 lifelink. Not really anything special in Commander. Sacrifice it, destroy an artifact or enchantment. Griffin, Citadel Castilian, Vigilance, and Renown 2. Forward Order enters the battlefield. You gain 2 life for each creature you control. Named Cleric of the Forward Order. Enters the battlefield, may destroy target artifact or enchantment. +2/+2 and has flying, and sacrifice 2 other creatures to regenerate it. First Strike Renown. If it's renowned, attacking creatures get +1/+1 until end of turn. Revival. Dark Dabbling. Dark Petition. Dies, target opponent discards a card. That thing. Can't block. Exile 2 other creature cards from your graveyard. Return it from the graveyard to the battlefield. Destroy target attacking or blocking creature. Dwayne Guiltleaf Dayan. Other elves get +1/+1. Whenever Dwayne attacks, you gain 1 life for each attacking elf you control. And her elite enters the battlefield. If you control an elf, make a 1/1 elf token. Flying, Vigilance, creature power 3 or greater, under your control, draw a card. Elvish Visionary. When Enlightened Aesthetic enters the battlefield, you may destroy target enchantment. Nope. +1/+1, prevent all damage that would be dealt to it this turn. If it's renowned, untap it. Erebos' Titan is weird, but doesn't actually do anything particularly good, so. Leap, no. Eyeblight Assassin, no. Massacre, no. Imp, no. Flip Gideon, don't think so. 2/2s. If there are 2 more instant sorceries in the graveyard, creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. No to the Winnower. To this guy. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 whenever it attacks. Tap target creature defending player controls. Death Touch deals combat damage to a player. That player loses life equal to number of creature cards in your graveyard. No. Dies gain 3 life. No. No. Creature would enter the battlefield and it wasn't cast. Exile it instead. Draw a card. Gain 4 life. Draw a card. Enters the battlefield. Tap target creature and opponent controls. For each enchantment you control. It's very cheap to cast. And cheap to equip. And we can have a lot of enchantments in play. I don't know if that's actually good enough. Like, I don't know that we would care about Helm of the Gods enough. Herald of the Pantheon isn't really doing anything because we don't cast enchantments. Yeah, I don't know that Helm of the Gods is actually doing anything in our deck. Deals combat damage to you. If Hixus, Prison Warden, enter the battlefield this turn, exile that creature until he leaves the battlefield. Hierarch is trash. Sorry, Honored Hierarch. You just really are terrible. Braga Invocation. Pilgrim's Road. White Orchid. Gothafed. Whenever a permanent owned by another player is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, you draw a card and you lose a life. Way too dangerous. Yeah, playing against an aristocrat's deck with Gothafed is just asking to get eaten alive by him. End of combat if Kithian, right, gains indestructible. Renown, and they can tap target creature. +2/+1 until end of turn. Those creatures also gain vigilance. Languish, Leaf Gilder, Liana. She flips pretty easy. Discard a card. Turn a non-legendary creature with converted mana cost X or less from the graveyard. Whenever a creature dies, you return it to the battlefield under your control at the beginning of the next end step. How much is her minus? It's -8, so even if we have doubling season, she never gets to that immediately. Coldblade, Mana Gorger Hydra, Mantle of Webs. Go to all of these so far. No. No. Target creature from your graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Enters the battlefield with 2 additional 1/1 counters. So nope. No. No. This Nisa. If it's a land, put it onto the battlefield, otherwise put it into your hand. Makes a Shaya. And untap up to 6 lands. They become 6/6 elemental creatures that are still lands. Gets a forest. Forest specifically. For up to 2 lands and put them onto the battlefield tapped. 2 or more spells. Search your library for up to 3 basic lands instead of 2. Oh, put one of them onto the battlefield tapped. I was like, why is this so much cheaper than the other ones? It's because you only get one of them into play tapped, and you can get an extra one to your hand. Scry 5, top card of your library. If it's a creature card, you draw cards equal to its power, and gain life equal to its toughness. You have Hexproof. Creature would deal damage to you, prevent 1 of that damage. That. Renown and can't be blocked by more than one creature. Enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control with a 1/1 counter already on it. Death Touch and Renown. Plummet. Makes a 5/5 demon, and then the priest deals 2 damage to you every turn. Oh, you lose 2 life every turn. Taps to add red, so we can't use it. I think it only copies red spells anyway. Enters the battlefield, each player loses 2 life. Attacks each turn if able, +2 power as long as you control another artifact. Destroy target creature with power 3 or less. Reclaim. Relic Seeker. Becomes renowned. Search your library for an equipment card. Centaur, Revenant. Maulers are Trample and Renown. Rogue's Passage. The Eternal Watch. Beginning of combat on each opponent's turn, tap target creature that player controls. Whenever a creature dies, scry 1. Each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life only if there are 4 more creatures in your graveyard. Loses life equal to the number of elves you control. Requires us to cast the enchantment. Gets +1/+1 for each other creature you control. Vigilance, Reach. Whenever a creature you control becomes blocked, it gets +1/+1. Target creature you control gains Trample. 3 flying, Renown 1. Alright, so there's the Starfield of Nyx. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may return target enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield. As long as you control 5 or more enchantments, each other non-aura enchantment you control is a creature in addition to its other types and has power and toughness equal to its converted mana cost. So this is one of the 2 that animates all of your enchantments. The other one just does it for 4 mana, but it doesn't buy back your dead enchantments. So powerful even in Myrkul, and certainly would be if we're doing the Aristocrats build, since it would reanimate our creatures by having enough of them in play. But we're not doing that, so we don't really need it. But yeah, if you wanted to build the more Aristocratsy version, this is one of the key cards to it, since it will keep your... It will let you sacrifice your creatures for value, bring them back as enchantments, and if you have enough enchantments, they will all be animated still, so you will get more. They will be creatures again, and then can die and trigger the thing again until you get down to like 4 enchantments in play. This. No. No. No, the Aurora. Each opponent who doesn't control an elf loses 1 life. That. No, that. Free Blade. This one gets an aura. Specifically, yeah. So that. That player sacrifices all other non-land permanents they control. Probably not. Unholy Hunger. No. Creature you control becomes renowned. Draw a card. Enters the battlefield under your control. +1/+1 until end of turn. Forger. Vine Snare. Wingmare, Warhorn, or Oracle, Lifelink and Renown, no. +2/+2, and then fights target creature and opponent controls. Enters the battlefield, search your library for a non-legendary green creature with converted mana cost 3 or less, and put it onto the battlefield and shuffle. What 3-drop creatures can we get with this? Will we have enough that I would actually want to bother running this? We might have Fierce Empath, for starters. That might be one of the things we can search out. I'll have to see what our actual options are, but we can probably add it to the list for right now as another
big creature that tutors, so enters the battlefield, yeah. Doesn't have to be cast or anything, so Woodland Bellower. This Force Mage, Yoke Docks, and Zendikar's Royal. Alright. Magic Origins. So next one is Original Recipe Commander. Alright, Acid Slime. Acorn Catapult deals 1 damage to target creature or player. That creature's controller or player gets a 1/1 squirrel. Afterlife. Vengeance. Starting with you, each player may pay any amount of mana. Each player puts X 1/1s onto the battlefield, where X is the total amount of mana spent. No. No. That. Enters the battlefield, each player chooses War or Peace. Creatures controlled by players who chose War get +3 power. Creatures controlled by those who chose Peace get +3 toughness. No. Menace, no. Brawl. Or Brawn, no. Butcher. Celestial Force, no. No. Join forces. Search for X basic lands. Let's go to old Command Tower. Did we already have Command Tower down here? We should. Yep, there's Command Tower. Alright. Beginning of your upkeep, put a Strife counter on Crescendo. Attacking creatures get +1 power for each Strife counter. Blocking creatures. Attacking creatures get +1 power for each Strife counter on Crescendo of War. Blocking creatures you control. Okay. That's what it is. That's why it's not attacking or blocking creatures. I'm like, this does not make sense the way they've set it up until I found the word that I was missing. If you cast it from your hand, destroy all creatures your opponents control, then tap all other creatures you control. Nope. Yeah, if I didn't specifically have to cast it, then maybe, but... There's Gave. Well, I think we put on the list, like, early. Yep, there he is. But, yeah... Might not make it, but we have enough things going on with him. Again, the problem with Gave is that he's kind of detracts from the deck by making the focus more about the things that he does. The fact that we have overlap with both decks, and there's Karandor, who is also kind of distracting in so much as while he's in play, you kind of want to do his thing more than you want to do Myrkul's. But he does help Myrkul, and they let you keep casting your creatures from the graveyard. So that way they can get back into play and die and become enchantments. I don't think we need him, though. I think we have enough other ways to get our stuff back that's cheaper and, you know, less distracting from how our commander is working. There's Martyr's Bond, or another non-land permanent you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield. Each opponent sacrifices a permanent that shares a card type with it. So that one has a lot of potential in this deck. Since our things will be enchantments, we'll be able to get rid of problematic enchantments very easily. Oops, that's Battle for Baldur's Gate, so Martyr's Bond. Assuming we have enough ways to sacrifice our enchantments for value, because we'll definitely be able to get rid of the creatures very easily with this thing. But if we can get rid of enchantments too, that would be super helpful. All of these cards that we will consider when we get to the sets that they're from. Reaver Demon. Rise. There's Scavenging Ooze. We might want Scavenging Ooze in addition to the Nezumi Grave Robber. So we'll at least consider it. We did go pretty fast past the Scythe Spectre, but I don't think I care. Deals combat damage to a player. Each opponent discards a card. Each opponent who discarded a card with the highest converted mana cost among cards discarded in this way loses life equal to that converted mana cost. Enters the battlefield, choose a player. Power and toughness are equal to the number of cards in that player's graveyard. Whenever the chosen player casts a spell, that player mills a card. Top X cards of their library into their graveyard, where X is the total amount of mana. No. Enters the battlefield under your control. If that creature is a 1/1, put 2 counters on it. I forget if he's actually from original, like, if he's from Shards of Alara block. I think he'd be from Alara Reborn if he was. Or if he's from this set. I think he's from Alara Reborn, though. Damage to a player gets a counter. Keeps its counters in all zones where you can see them. Exile target creature that's attacking you or a planeswalker you control. Biotic Worm, Siphon Flesh, Siphon Mine, Temple, Neheb, Tribute to the Wild, Fish Call the Blood Arbiter, sacrifice a creature, put X counters on it, remove all counters from it. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn for each 1/1 counter removed. Bows. And that was it. Okay. Nice and simple. Alright, we should be able to get through Conspiracy before I have to call it a day. So, that was Magic the Gathering Commander. Now for Magic the Gathering Conspiracy. No to Aether Searcher. Agent of Acquisitions, no. Starting with you, each player votes for Sickness or Psychosis. If Sickness wins, -2/-2. If Psychosis ties or wins, each opponent discards 2. While voting, you get an additional vote. Face up, each player passes the last card to you. Put a card from your graveyard on the bottom of your library. Nope. Don't need Coercive Portal. Don't need Grinder. Don't need Librarian. Starting with you, votes for a color. Gains protection from each color with the most votes or tied for the most votes. Council's Judgment, no. Soulbinders enters the battlefield with X 1/1 counters on it, where X is the number of other creatures on the battlefield. Remove a counter from it, make a 1/1 spirit creature token with flying. Starting with you, each player votes for an artifact, creature, or enchantment card in your graveyard. Return each card with the most votes or tied with the most votes to your hand. Deal Broker. Beginning of each end step, if a creature died this turn, you may draw a card. Death Render. X counters on it, where X is the number of creatures in all graveyards. Remove a counter from it. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. These. Whenever players finish voting, each opponent who voted for a choice you didn't vote for loses 2 life. Hydra Omnivore, no. Forechant, no. Lore Seeker, no. Lurking Automaton, no. Each player votes for Grace or Condemnation. If Grace gets more votes, each player returns each creature from their graveyard to the battlefield. If Condemnation gets more votes, or is tied, all creatures other than Magistrate of Wrath get destroyed. Don't think so. That cares what you do when you're drafting, or determine what colors the land makes. 3 2/2s instead. Oak. Enters the battlefield with X11 counters on. X is the number of cards in all players' hands. Remove a counter from it, search your library for a land card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle. Meh. Each player sacrifices a creature, put an XX demon into play, where X is the total power of the creatures sacrificed this way. Each player reveals the top card of their library. For each non-land revealed in this way, you put a 1/1 spirit creature token with flying onto the battlefield, then each player draws a card. Silvala. Each player reveals the top card of their library. For each non-land revealed this way, add green, and you gain 1 life, then each player draws a card. Reveals the top card of their library. For each non-land card revealed in this way, you put a 3/3 green elephant token onto the battlefield, then each player draws a card. 4 mana 2/2. For each non-land revealed, put a 1/1 counter on it. No to all of these. Stave off again. Stronghold Discipline. Death or Torture. Death gets more votes, each opponent sacks a creature. Torture gets more votes or is tied, each opponent loses 4. Unquestioned Authority. Valor Made Real, no. Token Orrery. One of the Vows. Trample. When it attacks, you parlay. For each non-land card revealed in this way, attacking creatures get +1/+1 until end of turn. Alright, so nothing fun in there. Burn through that one pretty quickly. What's the next set? Do I want to bother right now? Lots of Masters editions. Mercadian Masks. Stretch a little bit. I suppose we could do Mercadian Masks real quick. Destroy target creature, can't be regenerated. Controller gets a 1/1 spirit. Prevent the next 1 damage that will be dealt to target creature or player. It's called Alabaster Wall. It's like, why is that one so early in the thing? But it's Alabaster. Becomes blocked. Defending player discards a card. You draw a card and target opponent gains 3 life. Can attack or block. Gets copies of creatures you already have. Deals X damage to target attacking or blocking creature. Deals 1 damage to that player to prevent the next 1 damage that will be dealt by barbed wire this turn. Draw a card. X is the number of cards in an opponent's hand. Noted that. We can run Black Market. We certainly will have a lot of creatures dying, so we would get a lot of black mana to work with while it's in play. I don't know if we're going to need it or not, but we can add it to the list at least. We do have a lot of very expensive spells that we're looking to cast, so getting an extra 3 to 5 black mana every turn might actually be worth the investment in the card. Bog Smugglers, Bog Witch, Briar Patch, Cackling Witch, Caller of the Hunt. Don't think we need any of these mercenaries.
Deals combat damage to a player, may destroy target artifact that player controls. The next time a source of your choice would deal damage to target creature this turn, prevent that damage. Charm Griffin comes into play. Each other player may put an artifact or enchantment into play from their hand. It's a 4-mana 3/3 flyer. Like, it's not even good. You would think you would at least get a 4/4 flyer out of it. Discard a card from your hand the next time a source of your choice would deal damage to you this turn. Prevent that damage and gain that much life. Attacks, you may tap up to 2 target creatures. Pro Black, opponent controls a swamp and you control a plains. You may cast it without paying its mana cost. Chomano and his Blessing. Top 5 cards of their library. Put into play tapped all lands revealed in this way and remove the rest from the game. Collective Unconsciousness. Non-artifact creatures you control get +2/+2 as long as they all share a color. Conspiracy. Cornered Market. Corrupt Official. Crackdown. Credit Voucher. Crowated Wall, no. Crooked Scales, no. 1 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. Damage causes you to exile cards instead. Dawn Strider. Deadly Insect. Death Gazer. No. 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 Alright, Desert Twister. Devout Witness is the disenchant one. Actual disenchant becomes the color of your choice. Dust Bowl. Enslaved Horror. Return a creature card from their graveyard to play. Attacks put a 1/1 counter on target creature of defending player's choice. Target player's hand and choose up to 2 cards from it. That player discards those cards. No. Don't need Food Chain. Don't need Force March. Creature you control is put into a graveyard. Pay 1 if you do reveal cards from the top of your library. Until you reveal a creature card, put that one in your hand and the rest in your graveyard. Probably not. Artifacts and enchantments. Artifacts and enchantments you control can't be the target of spells or abilities. Alright. So, notably, if they come back as an enchantment, then they're included. So that would help protecting our stuff. Beginning of your upkeep, each player reveals the top card of their library. If all cards revealed in this way are creature cards, put them into play under their owner's control. Deal damage to you this turn. That damage is dealt to target creature you control instead. Put target creature card from your graveyard on top of your library. I don't think we need any of those. I don't think we need High Market. I mean, it's always fine to have a backup way to sacrifice our creatures, but we're not like super aristocracy, so we don't need it. How many times can I say aristocracy while building this deck? I don't know, but we're going to find out. Having the qualities of an aristocrat's deck. Aristocracy. All creatures in all graveyards from the game. Gain 1 life for each creature removed in this way. Player plays a spell. They may pay 1. If they do, they draw a card at the end of turn. Wampus. Ignoble Soldier. Instigator, insubordination, intimidation, invigorate. Is that inviolability? Inviolability? Can't quite read the name on the card. Inviolability. Okay. Iron Lance, Ivory Mask. Yeah, we've already got enough. We didn't take the ley line of Sanctity, so we're not going to bother with Ivory Mask. Jovial Queen, Jovial Rider, Chiron Archive, Chiron Toy, Land Grant, Larceny, Last Breath, Leyline. Player's upkeep, that player may put a 1/1 counter on target creature. Whenever a card is put into a player's graveyard from play, that player loses 1 life. All creatures have Forest Walk. Comes into play, sacrifice unless you pay 1 for each card in your hand. Atlas, Bazaar, Lift, Midnight Ritual, no. 1/1 flyer, 2/1 flyer. Target player skips his or her combat phase this turn. Monkey Cage, Moonlit Wake, Muzzle, Natural Affinity. So notably, if we cast this in response to a Wrath, I've said this before, if our lands are animated when they die, the basic lands are terrible for doing this with, and the ones that count as the basic lands and therefore have the activate abilities of those lands are terrible. But the ones that just tap for mana, that spell out what they tap for and don't have a basic land type, they don't have the intrinsic ability from the land type to add mana, so losing the land type doesn't matter for them. So we would actually be able to get back all of our lands that have the tap add 1 mana spelled out on them that aren't errated because they have a basic land type. I don't know that I would care enough. Like, we would have to be running a bunch of non-basic lands that aren't fetchable at that point for Natural Affinity to work. Or just have fetch lands in play, so that way they die, we reanimate them as enchantments, and then we can sack them to go get lands from our deck. It's an interesting setup, but I don't know that it's particularly good. Also, we have to be careful because if the opponent is casting a Wrath while we have Myrkul out, unless we don't have a bunch of creatures, and that's why they're okay with it, we do run the risk that they were planning to kill all of our enchantments also. I mean, we can still crack the fetches in response to that, but the other lands, if we had any, would all get destroyed. Also, this requires us having a bunch of uncracked fetch lands sitting around. Yeah, the more I talk about this, the less I like this idea. So I think we're just going to pass on it entirely. Notorious Assassin. No. If you control planes, tap an untapped creature you control instead of paying its mana cost, prevent 4 damage. Panacea, prevent X damage. Whenever a player plays a land, return it to owner's hand. Is dealt combat damage, you gain that much life. Commissioner's Claim. Becomes blocked, tap all lands defending player controls. Player plays a white spell or green spell, that player discards a card from their hand. Quagmire, Reign of Tears, Rebel creatures. Don't think we need the rebels any. Like, the rebels are better than the mercenaries, but that doesn't necessarily mean we need any of them. Tap an untapped white creature you control instead of paying the casting cost. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. No. Also, no. Ooh, excuse me. Rampart Crawler. Repelling Scouts. Boat Farm. Bounce. 1. Prevent the next 1 damage that will be dealt to a Revered Elder this turn. Remove a white card in your hand from the game. All creatures gain protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. It is a free spell that can protect Myrkul. Like, we can exile a white card from our hand to cast this. It would protect him from, like, mass damage things if he's not indestructible, and anything that targets him. Maybe that's worth considering. So this is Reverent Mantra. Reverent Mantra. And I'm spelling Reverent wrong. Looks like it's Reverent, not Reverent. There we go. Okay, revive. Righteous Aura. Deal damage to you this turn, prevent that damage. Righteous Indignation. Whenever a creature blocks a black or red creature, the blocking creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Shodden Port, Rouse, Rushwood Dryad, Rushwood Elemental, Grove, Herbalist, Legate. Oh yeah, it's Rushwood Grove. Okay. I was like, wait, what was the land that was in between there? But yeah, it's Rushwood also. Is dealt damage. You may put that many 1/1 green insect tokens into play. Becomes blocked, gain a life. Scandalmonger. Sentry Duty. Put 1/1 white soldier token into play. This ability only if you control no creatures and only once each turn. Sever Soul, Silent Assassin, Silverglade Elemental. Comes into play, you may search your library for a forest card, put that card into play, and then shuffle your library for 5 mana. Discard a card from your hand, search your library for a basic land card, and put it into play tapped, then shuffle your library. Spell or ability, sacrifice it. Opponent plays a blue or black spell, get a 1/1 snake. Comes blocked, it gets +2/+2. Snuff out. Target player gains 5. Pay 2 life, regenerate enchanted creature. Player discards a card at random. My creatures have +1 toughness and reach. Spell or ability opponent controls causes you to discard a card. You gain 2 life and you may draw a card. 1/1 green sapperling into play for each card in your hand. Deals 2 damage to each creature with flying. Attacking doesn't cause enchanted creature to tap. Sacrifice stamina, regenerate it. Story circle, no. 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 Becomes Satire spell or ability, +0/+3, no. Pro red, no. Oh, there's Thrashing Wumpus. Hello, Thrashing Wumpus. Are you excited to get into my deck? Become one of the cards in it. Thrashing Wumpus. Wait, Wumpus is a real word? Okay. Discard a card from your hand. Target player gains 3 life. No. Comes blocked, no. Unmask, no. Natural Hunger, Vendetta, Venomous Breath. Any player may play creature and enchantment spells anytime they can play an instant. No. Vine Dryad, Vine Trellis, Wall of Distortion, Wave of Reckoning, Wishmonger, Worry Beads. Nope. Nope to all of those. Alright, so that was Mercadian Masks. What's up next? Mirage, and then Mirrodin sets. Oh, it's after 1:30. I think I should take the time now to get myself ready for work and whatnot. So I'm going to call it a stream there. I don't have to stop right now, but I'm starting to get that, staring at tiny text on cards, especially like old frames with like white border and white text on them, straining the eyes a bit. So I think that's a good place to stop. So we got up through Mercadian Masks, so we'll just add that up here. Mercadian Masks. And that'll do it for me today. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Have a good rest of your day.